What are the ABCs of selling with Google Workspace?
Always be collaborating?
This is 27 Degrees, our angle on Google Workspace. All right, welcome back to 27 Degrees, where we bring you our angle on Google Workspace. We open every show with one of the latest Google Workspace updates to make sure that you, the user of Google Workspace at home, can get the most value out of it. What do we have to start with today, Rowan?
Well, Troy, we have an update for one of the most popular tools in Google Workspace used by billions of people worldwide, and that's Gmail. And Google have actually introduced a new interface for Gmail that allows you to manage the other tools integrated into your email much easier. So now you'll actually see 4 distinct sections of email, chat, spaces, and meet, allowing you to access those tools whilst also taking full functionality of the labels section in email. So how do you use it? Simply go to the Gmail interface in the web and you're able to take advantage of this new functionality.
Yeah, and why do you care? Well, if you happen to work from a laptop, whether it's remote or on the road, this is going to allow you to use messaging and video conferencing all in one single pane of glass more efficiently. It kind of reminds me of a past update that we brought you in season 1 of 27 Degrees, where Google iterated the presentation mode within slides to make the menu bar a little bit smaller, giving you more space to work. It's similar to that, and we'll see more iterations of Google Workspace tools as we roll out season 2 of 27 Degrees. All right, it's time for another new segment for season 2, and we're calling it A Day in the Life with Google Workspace. The idea here is that we're going to actually show you in different roles what it's like to work day in and day out using the tools within Google Workspace. We're going to start with what we know best as salespeople and walk you through selling with Google Workspace today. But we'll be bringing this segment back and we'll be looking at other roles like HR, marketing, teaching, students, even executive assistants, and more. And we've consulted with our change management experts here at SADA to make sure that we're getting the details right for you. All right, Rowan, let's get into selling with Google Workspace. And of course, we can't talk about selling without our uniforms on. We're back in our blazers. Not something we do every day working fully remote from home, but special occasions justify it, right?
That's right. For this special look at the day in the life of a salesperson, we had to look the part. But of course, we won't show what's in the bottom half, just the top.
Yeah. I mean, we're still fully remote, so anything goes on the bottom half, I think. For the first time with this new segment that we're bringing you, we wanted to talk about something we know near and dear, and that's our day-to-day ourselves. And Rowan and I are both salespeople. We are in selling positions here at SADA. We're both considered Google Workspace account executives. So this is something we're really familiar with, and I want to take you through a typical day and how we use the tools ourselves. So like most people, I start every day on my mobile device. I wake up in bed, and unfortunately, it's usually the first thing I look at. But I actually continue using my mobile phone through the early parts of my day while I'm in the kitchen getting my coffee or taking my new puppy, George, outside for his morning bio break and getting him his breakfast ready. And oftentimes that part of the day, when you're working fully remote, whether you have kids or a pet at home to take care of, it can get away from you a little bit. And it's sometimes a nice amount of flexibility that Google Workspace gives me when I'm looking at checking my calendar, going through my email, and catching up with all of the various project spaces that I have with teams that I'm working with. I think a large part of selling is working in a team and collaborating with other teams across your organization. So we'll talk a lot about that today, that collaboration between teams and how you can get the most out of that with Google Workspace. Generally, I think most sales teams start with a stand-up or a team call first thing in the morning. So oftentimes I'll actually be able to take that call from outside in the backyard or in the kitchen with the kettle going off. And because of the noise canceling and active noise canceling in Google Meet, you're actually not able to tell at all where I am taking that call. And that flexibility allows me to get my morning routine done while also being professional and being part of those team meetings.
Absolutely, Troy. I think it's absolutely wonderful that you have the flexibility to work on a mobile device or your laptop and desktop with an almost almost equal level of functionality as well.
Yeah, exactly. If we look at moving into the next portion of my day, typically I start, in my morning routine and I start working right away. But then I might have to transition into my office space, and Google Meet allows for that transition into, a different area or a different space or onto a different device really seamlessly. And oftentimes I find I'm joining a meeting first on my mobile, and then once I'm situated at my desk, I'll actually transition over to my browser. So now that I'm on my browser and I'm situated, and maybe that first meeting of the day has ended, I'm gonna go to my home base. And as a salesperson, we all work out of our email pretty religiously. So if I open Gmail on browser, I'm able to actually see some of the snoozed emails that I've left for myself this morning from maybe the West Coast. I'm located in Toronto and I work with teams across the country. So I've got emails from last night from my teams that have come in at maybe 7, 8 p.m. my time. I'm not going to answer those tonight, but I don't want them sitting in my inbox looming over me. So I'm going to snooze them. And it's a really handy feature that allows me to stay on top of any new emails that are coming in and essentially set the time that I want to address them for myself.
I think that the snooze function is absolutely amazing. One of the most powerful features in all of Gmail, and really handy for managing what I call open loops, things that you've maybe actioned or you need to action at a particular point in time but not think about just now. And the more that you can reduce the burden of those items on your brain, the better. And the snooze function in Gmail is specifically designed to do that. Incredible.
Yeah, and that's not to mention the starred feature as well within Gmail. And I use starring to really prioritize emails, urgent tasks and items in my inbox, get starred right away, and I know that I'm not going to miss them and let anything slip through the cracks. And as a salesperson, that's vital. You want to stay on top of things and make sure that you're being reactive and really, available to your clients. Now that I'm in my Gmail, let's take a look at a typical item that I might have to start working on early in my day. And I can see here that I've received back a statement of work from one of my solutions architects. So they've put together this document in Google Docs and they've commented me in and tagged me and assigned some items, action items for me to take a look at. So I'm gonna go ahead and complete those assigned tasks. I can comment back to them and then I can actually reassign these tasks all from one pane, all within Gmail, collaborating live with the team if they're available, or reassigning to them for when they're able to get back to this. Another feature within Gmail that's great for selling is nudges. I can actually get nudged by Gmail 3 or 5 days after I've sent an email, maybe to a prospect that is being a little bit difficult to get a hold of. I can have Gmail remind me and it automatically does that, which again allows me to stay on top of those outreach campaigns or any action items, to deal with my pipeline that I'm really trying to build up. That's automatically built in within Gmail, and it's another amazing use of Google Workspace.
Yeah, I think what a fantastic example yet again of Google building in their incredible AI and machine learning capabilities into a tool to take the weight off the user. Sure, you still have snoozing to be able to manage open loops in a sort of procedural way that you said, but for any that slip through the cracks, or if you aren't using that system or tool yet, then this provides a fantastic opportunity for those to come back without you doing any work as an end user.
So looking ahead in my day here, I can see in my chat that I've got a reminder 10 minutes ahead of our presentation meeting that we have coming up. And we've got a team internally that's in that chat automatically. And I can ask if we're ready for the meeting. We can open up the slides deck, take a look through, make any last minute changes or edits that we need to, and make sure that everyone is aligned before that meeting going into that presentation. That's one of the things that I think a lot of new sellers don't do in their day-to-day is really making sure everyone's on the same page. If they're running the meeting, you really want to be like that quarterback calling the play. And that can start ahead of the meeting with Google Workspace with, an easy reminder just to again, nudge you a little bit and say, hey, let's make sure everyone's on the same page here heading into this presentation. And if we open up Calendar and actually go into the event for this meeting coming up with a prospect, you can see here that within the event invite, it actually allows me to open up a notes doc, and it'll automatically share that with everyone in the call, so we can make sure we're all, aligned with what was said and make sure there's nothing missed in our follow-ups with that prospect. Now we're in that presentation meeting with the prospect, and you can see how easy it is to share this slides presentation and actually drive engagement and gather feedback from the audience that I'm presenting to, leveraging Q&A and polls.
That's right, and I think it's important to remember how easy it is to join a Meet call, even if you aren't a Google user. Like, for example, someone that you're meeting with externally, like a prospect. You actually don't need to download any software or install any extension at all. You simply need to access a URL, add your name, and request to join the meeting from a modern browser.
Yeah, that's something that Rowan and I experience every day as we are trying to spread the message of Google Workspace to folks who haven't had a chance to use it yet or don't have the tools today. That's something that we run into all the time, and it really doesn't even cross my mind at this point. I just send a Google Meet invite and the rest sort of takes care of itself. It's really nice. All right, so that meeting has wrapped up, and now we've got a few action items, and we need to get a team together in order to bring this prospect in as a customer. We're going to start a space. We're going to create a space to work on any projects related to this opportunity. We're going to bring in external teams from any partners that we work with. We're going to include any internal resources. Really, this is going to become a central hub for this prospect, and we're going to be able to move the needle forward with any of the teams we need involved. So we have 3 main takeaways that we want you to remember when looking at selling with Google Workspace. We want you to think about the ease and flexibility while working between devices, whether it's on your mobile or on your desktop or browser. We want you to remember the speed of communication with internal and external parties, and Meet as a video conferencing tool for selling. It makes it so easy to invite prospects who may not have access to the same tools as you to a call, and we want to remove any barriers to getting those prospects live on the phone with you, right? All right, that's another episode of 27 Degrees, folks. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you found some value in the Gmail interface update we broke down at the top of the show, and we can't wait to bring you more segments of a day in the life with Google Workspace soon. Don't forget that we have a live Q&A event coming up April 7th, 2022, 10 a.m. Pacific on LinkedIn. All of the event details are in the description below, but we need to hear from you.
That's right. Do you have any burning questions about any of the tools in the Workspace platform? Well, we want to hear them in the comments section down below, and then we'll be answering these questions live in our Q&A.
You can already hold your spot by registering at the link in the description below, and this event will be hosted on LinkedIn and YouTube. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode.